a new uniform code of appearance has been written, and some say that it is racially insensitive at best. Joining me to see how cornrows fit in the melting pot is USC Professor of Law Jody Armour and a special guest to look under America's armor, Radio VR's own Kate Sickle. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you.
Good to be with you.
So, Jody, let's start with you. At its heart, I don't get this complaint. While we revere individualism in America, or at least we claim to, that hasn't really been true in the military. The military is the one place where all are expected to conform, be a unit of one, and be homogenous. So what's the hubbub about Army Regulation 670-1 with its rules on tattoos, hairstyles, grooming, and uniforms for soldiers?
Yeah, tattoos and hairstyles. There it is in a nutshell. Are we treating tattoos and hairstyles as equivalent? If they are, then the Army should be able to treat black women's hair and black people's hair more generally, just like they treat tattoos. But if black hair and tattoos, for example, or mustaches and beards more generally, if black hair on the head is different than tattoos, then maybe there is some reason for treating it differently than those others. And so I would maintain, I submit, Andrew, that there is a gulf, a yawning chasm between tattoos on the one hand and black women's hair on the other, and the military's failure to recognize that distinction really shows how culturally insensitive, I'm going to use that language, they are now, how much they have to learn culturally, and how much, yes, the Army itself, this uniform code of appearance, this kind of, we want regimentation, we want uniformity in the Army. Even the Army is going to have to make some allowances and accommodate diversity when it starts to bring, number one, women into its ranks. It's not going to be able to treat all women like all male soldiers. I'm sorry, there is a difference, and they will have to accommodate that difference to some extent. And now when you throw black women, so you have intersectionality now involved, not just women, but black women, when you're bringing them into the mix, yes, you may have to try to understand what it is about them and their experience that makes their hair different than tattoos.
Yeah, but you say that, but in 2005, almost 9 years ago, twists and dreadlocks have been barred. Why are we hearing about this today?
Yeah, because the reason it's going to keep coming up, Andrew, is we're talking about black women's freedom. We're talking about black women's ability to carry on their lives without being unduly burdened by things like hair matters. Because here's why I call it freedom. When you are able to cornrow your hair as a black woman or braid it, rather than straighten it and keep it the way you have to keep it if you have it straightened or some other styles, when you're able to braid it, that means that you're able to jump in water without worry, you're able to get caught in the rain, a whole variety of activities that aren't open to you. And black women know what I'm talking about.
Jody, let me jump in here for just a second. A couple of points here. One, you mentioned freedom and individuality for women in the military. Now, while I agree that all Americans should have the freedoms given to them in the Constitution, when you join the military, you're signing up to join the military. There's an understanding that there's a conformity. You all have to wear the same uniform. There's a hat and boots that go into that. So there's a uniform set aside specifically for you that allows you to do all of those things you just mentioned: jump in water, be in the rain. Those uniforms are designed to allow you as a soldier to experience those things without having to worry about your hair. The other thing I wanted to bring up here is that you mentioned the differences between...
Let's stay with that, Kate. I want to stay there and keep going. I definitely want to go. I leap to agree with you. My point is that the hair makes it more possible for you to do those things when you have it braided or in cornrows than when you have it straightened according to the uniform code of appearance. I'm sorry.
Sure. No. But if your commanding officer doesn't care about that, then why should you?
Oh, no, you do care. What you care about is the ability to carry on your job with the same level of, kind of convenience and effort that your male counterparts do.
So my hairstyle, as a woman, my hairstyle is going to affect my job performance?
Oh, of course, Kate. Yes, this is what exactly was going on in the American Airlines case. There's a famous American Airlines case involving flight attendants, black flight attendants who wanted to wear cornrows and braids as part of their job. And the American Airlines said, no, that's not professional and it's impertinent to have your hair in that style. And so they said it affects our ability to do our job if we can't put it in this style. This is why I was saying earlier, Kate, if you understand what black women have to go through who have their hair in anything other than cornrows or braids, you'll realize how inconvenient it is to tell them they cannot put their hair in cornrows and braids.
Now, Jody, admittedly here, I am not a black woman. I am a white woman, so my hair is admittedly not the same texture as many black women. I will give you that. However, that said, if my commanding officer told me, hey, you have to put your hair in a bun instead of a ponytail, or you have to braid it in a French braid instead of a regular braid, I'm not going to tell my commanding officer, well, I want to do it in, pigtails because I think I can do my job better that way.
Yeah, and that's why critical race feminism has come up with this notion of intersectionality, Kate, because you as a white woman cannot understand what a black woman's experience is. You're right. You put your finger right on it from the very beginning, that you don't understand how a nation whose somatic norm image favors white women, not black women, tells white women that they can be attractive in their natural hair and their hair in its natural state, but a black woman, your hair has to be a certain way, even though it's in its natural state.
It goes the other way. These women are not being told that their hair has to be in a natural way. They're being told that they can't put it up in cornrows or braids, which
that's what I mean.
But Jody, to be fair here, the hair standards apply to women across the board in the military.
Oh yeah, but it's mainly aimed at black women.
Regardless of your race, you are told in the military, specifically in the Army, that you are allowed to do your hair one or two specific ways.
Right, regardless of your race.
You can have it in a bun, you can have it in a French braid. And that's about it.
Regardless of your race, as long as you treat your hair like white women treat their hair, then everything's all right. What you're not getting going in, though, is the fact that a black woman's natural hair, Kate, this is what you're still not getting. What I mean by natural hair is a black woman's natural hair can go into braids or cornrows in a way so she can keep her hair natural, put it in those styles, and it will continue to be both convenient and viewed by her as acceptable on an appearance level. Yes, people do care about their appearance and not looking, in a way that they find, just something that is unacceptable to them. So to keep your hair natural in its natural nappy state, you can either have it in a fro like I have mine now, Kate. They're not going to let you wear their hair. They're not going to let them wear their hair like I'm wearing my hair now. I bet you that. This is natural. If you're going to have it this long and natural and not up like this, then your only option as a black woman is to fry it, put chemicals on it and straighten it, number one, and then tie it in a bow or do any of the other stuff that you're talking about. Or if you don't want to straighten it, put lye in it, burn your scalp and all that stuff, then you can put it in cornrows or you can put it in braids. And that way you keep it natural. That's what I meant by natural. You can keep your hair in a natural style that isn't like this, and you can go ahead and do your job in it. And get into water and everything else. White women don't have those burdens. They don't have to confront those kinds of dilemmas. So that's why intersectionality is important to understand any of these social issues. I, as a black man, can't go in there and say, oh, well, as a black man, I know what black women are going through because I'm black. And you, as a white woman, can't go and say, oh, as a woman, I'm a white woman, so I know what's going on here, and I can tell you it's just like this. No, it's not just like that, Kate, unless you stand in their shoes, and you might have to put on 2 tube socks before you can stand in their shoes, given all they have to go through day in and day out to understand how their experiences are different than yours or mine. We're not them.
So, Jody, I want to ask a little bit about pragmatics here because, again, I've never braided my hair, and those who have seen me on video know I'm losing too much hair to be able to braid my hair right now, even with the less than a quarter inch, which is allowed by military standards. We're talking about hair in different theaters. One theater is combat theater, one theater is on a military base, and another is in barracks. So I want to ask you a little bit about maintenance. If I am a female soldier, white or black, but let's say black particularly, and I need to put my hair into cornrows and braids, how long do they stay in that, and how long does it take me to get it? Because if I need to spend an hour a morning and I'm in combat, that hour is something that I may not want to, or my commanders may not want me to go through, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah. You can do it. You sit down and run the braids through, and they can last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 months. Depends on how much it frays and how much activity. But you can at least get 6 to 8 weeks out of a good braiding without even much fraying, all right? And it will stay pretty tight. Now, it can take 2 to 3 hours to do that, but we're talking about people spending time on hygiene, of different kinds over the course of a couple months. 2 to 3 hours isn't going to be really that much. And on a battlefield, you could leave it in even longer. I'm saying before it starts fraying and looking less than as sharp as you want it to look. But if you allow for fraying, you can take a good job of braiding or cornrowing out into the field for 6 months or a year. So, and from a convenience standpoint, that's what makes all this whole debate so absurd. From a convenience standpoint, this hairstyle is the most convenient. A black woman with natural hair can put her hair in without doing it in a fro like I have now, which they're not going to accept, or without relaxing it and frying it so that it can then remain, kind of wrapped in a bun or some other things that could be done.